If you are an Arizona homeowner and you just got a notice in the mail, saw paperwork posted, or heard someone say your house is headed to auction, the first thing you need is not motivation. You need a timeline, because most homeowners do not lose their house because they had no options. They lose leverage because they did not understand where they were in the process. A lot of people think foreclosure is one event. It is not. It is a series of stages. And each stage changes what you should be doing right now. I'm Hope with the Offer Company, and in this episode, I want to walk you through the full Arizona foreclosure timeline step by step, what each phase means, what mistakes people make at each stage, and most importantly, what you should do next depending on where you are. Let's start at the beginning. When you first miss a payment, foreclosure does not start that day. Usually, the first phase is simply delinquency. You are behind. The lender starts sending notices, calling, and adding late fees. This is the stage where a lot of people still think they can catch up on their own, and sometimes they can. But the mistake is staying vague. If you are in that early stage, your first move is simple. Pull together your mortgage statement, figure out how many payments you are behind, and get clear on whether your hardship is temporary or long-term. That matters because the right solution depends on the kind of problem you actually have. If your income disruption is short-term, you may be looking at reinstatement, repayment plans, or forbearance depending on the servicer. If your income problem is long-term, you should already be evaluating whether a loan modification, sale, or short sale makes more sense. The next stage is when the file starts moving toward formal foreclosure. In Arizona, most residential foreclosures are non-judicial, which means there is usually no long courtroom process. Instead, the trustee and lender follow a statutory timeline. That is why Arizona moves faster than people expect. The big moment is the recording of the Notice of Trustee Sale. This is the document that sets the foreclosure process into motion in a very real way. Once that notice is recorded, the sale date is scheduled at least 90 days out. That is one of the most important things to understand. The notice is serious, but it is also a timeline marker. It tells you the window you are working with. So if you receive a Notice of Trustee Sale, do not just panic and do not just stuff it in a drawer. Your job that week is to do 4 things. First, confirm the actual sale date. Do not rely on memory or what someone told you over the phone. Get the exact recorded information. Second, find out who your current servicer is and whether the loan has been transferred. You do not want to send documents to the wrong place. Third, gather your core documents. That usually means hardship letter if needed, pay stubs or proof of income, bank statements, tax returns, mortgage statement, and anything showing the reason for default. Fourth, define the goal. Are you trying to stay, sell, create time, exit cleanly? Until you answer that, everything stays foggy. Now, here is where people get tripped up. They think 90 days means they have plenty of time. Usually, they do not, because the real working window is smaller than it looks. Documents get requested, files get marked incomplete, buyers move slowly, lenders stall, trustees do not explain strategy. So even though the legal timeline may say one thing, your practical timeline is often much tighter. The next phase is the pre-sale action window. This is where most real solutions either get created or lost. If your goal is to keep the house, this is when a complete loan modification package needs to get in early enough to matter. Not half complete, not missing bank statements, not a vague hardship letter. Complete. Because incomplete files waste the exact time you cannot afford to waste. If your goal is to sell before auction, this is when the house needs to be priced and positioned around the deadline, not around wishful thinking. A foreclosure timeline is not a normal retail timeline. You do not get to test the market for months and then decide later. If you have equity, protecting it means moving early enough for the sale to actually close before the trustee sale. If your home is worth less than what is owed, that is when you may need to evaluate a short sale. But again, short sales require coordination, documentation, negotiation, and enough time to get lender approval. Waiting until the final days kills a lot of deals that might have worked earlier. Then there is the reinstatement question. Reinstatement means bringing the loan current by paying the missed payments, fees, interest, and costs required by the servicer. Some homeowners think they can just come up with money at the last minute and be done. But that is not how it works. Reinstatement figures expire. Wire instructions matter. timing matters. If this is your path, request the reinstatement amount early and verify how long it is good for. As the sale date gets closer, the urgency changes. This is where people often start hearing about postponements. And yes, trustee sales can be postponed, but a postponement is not a strategy by itself. It is just time. Sometimes it comes because the lender is reviewing a complete loss mitigation file. Sometimes it comes because a sale is in progress. Sometimes it is administrative. The mistake is assuming a postponed sale means the danger is over. It does not. It means your window moved. That is all. So if your sale date gets postponed, your next move is not to relax. Your next move is to ask why it was postponed, what is actively being reviewed, what deadline now matters most, and what has to be completed before the new date. If nobody can answer those questions clearly, you do not actually have a plan yet. Now let's talk about the final week before the trustee sale. This is where confusion and emotion peak. Homeowners start freezing. They start taking random calls from investors. They start hoping the bank will delay it automatically. They start making decisions based on fear instead of facts. If you are in the final week, your checklist gets brutally simple. Confirm the exact sale status immediately. Do not assume the date stayed the same. Do not assume the sale moved. Do not assume the lender has everything. Verify it. Second, stop juggling multiple incomplete paths. If you are trying for a loan modification, make sure the file is actually under review and complete. If you are selling, make sure the transaction timeline can really beat the sale. If you are pursuing a short sale, make sure the lender has what they need and the buyer is real. Random motion is not progress. Third, protect your equity if equity exists. The closer you get to sale, the more expensive delay becomes. Fees continue, interest continues, and rushed decisions usually produce the worst outcomes. Then comes the sale itself, the trustee sale auction. This is the end of the pre-foreclosure timeline. Once the sale happens, your options change dramatically. That is why the whole process before the auction matters so much. Most of the meaningful control happens before that point, not after. So let me simplify the Arizona foreclosure timeline into a practical sequence. Number 1, first, missed payments. Get clear on whether the problem is temporary or long-term. Number 2, collection and default pressure. Open the mail, track the servicer, and stop guessing. Number 3, notice of trustee sale recorded. Confirm the date, gather documents, define the goal. Number 4, 90-day statutory window. Move early because the true working window is smaller than it looks. Number 5, pre-sale strategy period. Complete the file, price around the deadline, or structure the right exit. Number 6, approaching sale date. Verify status, do not assume postponements mean safety, and tighten execution. Number 7, trustee sale auction. This is the deadline everything was pointing toward. If you remember nothing else from this episode, remember this. The foreclosure timeline is not just a countdown. It is a decision map. Every stage tells you what kind of action matters next. Early on, clarity matters. In the middle, preparation matters. Closer to sale, execution matters. At the end, assumptions become expensive. If you are behind and trying to figure out where you are in that timeline, start by writing down 4 things today. Your servicer, your sale date if one exists, your estimated equity position, and your actual goal. Stay, sell, postpone, or exit cleanly. That alone will give you more clarity than most homeowners have when they first start looking for answers. And here's the part most people don't realize. You don't have to figure this out on your own. We help Arizona homeowners through this process every single day. We look at your situation, your timeline, your numbers, and help you map out exactly what your best next move is. Whether that means staying in the home, selling before auction, creating time, or exiting cleanly, we can walk you through it step by step. There's no cost to talk to us, no obligation, just clarity. And once you know those 4 things and have a clear plan, you can start taking the right action instead of reacting emotionally to every letter, phone call, and deadline. You can find our contact information in the description or bio.